I'm that artist too. Like, anytime you can hear something like that, you want to stop the show. You want to make sure, fans get the proper attention they need, And
Yes, I don't know you, bro. Go. Nobody on stage, bro. Nobody on stage, bro. No. I don't care if you're working for Summer Jam. Bye. You're not working for Travis. This isn't Summer Jam.
Hey guys, it's Rob Morali back at it again with another video. If you have not subscribed, guys, click that button. It's daily and consistent content. Maybe you guys will be able to see the nice, backgrounds, and maybe you guys won't. I'm not really sure. I am filming this from my phone, but let's get straight into this video where, he obviously is breaking silence. Now, I didn't expect him to do an interview on this, and I honestly felt like he did not need to do an interview on this. Nobody asked for this, and I feel like this is not life-changing. And I don't think that this was needed in any capacity. I feel like his lawyers allowing him to do this particular video, this interview, is a bit of a silly move, and I think it's just not needed. Let me just. I don't know why I have these bottles here, but let me just hide the label because they damn sure ain't paying me to have the bottles in there. So let me just hide these bottles away because I don't know. Like, wow. Anyways, okay. So now, this interview that he's done with Charlemagne, first and foremost, I don't even think Charlemagne is fit enough for this interview. I feel like he was the wrong person to do it.
I'm sure you experiencing remorse, but was there any hesitation to have this conversation because of the litigation you may be facing?
Well, I mean,
part of the culture, of your shows, you didn't on this night, but in the past, you've encouraged, I guess, the kind of energy that could have led to something like this happening.
Why you're reading this particular paper? Why do you even have a paper, not a card, number one? You're reading a paper like off the script because you don't even know what you're talking about or what you're saying. And I feel like he's the wrong person for this particular interview. He asked these questions wrong. He was a bit too relaxed on him and, wasn't really getting the proper answers that he needed and wasn't chasing up his responses to really, highlight the contradictions that he was making. So I feel like he was the wrong person for this interview, period. When we look at Travis Scott, we need to first and foremost look at his body language. And what we can tell is that the man obviously he looks very defeated. He looks very, upset. If you look at his body language, his shoulders seem slouched. He's looking down, confused. This could also be, a genuine response, or it could be him amping up that response. I feel like it could be a combination of both because he knows that in this interview he has to appeal as sorry and remorseful in some capacity for it to be, translatable for an audience. He obviously refuses to say that he didn't know what happened. Now, of course, that makes sense. Why would you admit that? Why would you admit to say, yeah, I know what happened? Like, sorry guys, I lied. That would defeat the purpose of all these lawsuits. His lawyers would not want him to say that. So from a legality perspective, it does make sense for him to not really acknowledge anything in any capacity. And that's what I would expect from Travis Scott if he's speaking on this matter, because, they have to think of it from a legal perspective at all times. He obviously says that in the past he has stopped stuff, and I feel like he hasn't. And
I needed just a way to kind of communicate,
Mm-hmm.
One, the families are grieving, it's fans that experienced something, it's fans that came.
What kind of irritating you with Travis Scott? If you're gonna sit there and talk about your past and scrub stuff and whatever, you should have somebody to have a quick rebuttal to it. And for him to say, I've stopped stuff in the past, no, you have not. You have kicked off cameramen from your stage. You've told your fans to beat up somebody in an audience. You've been charged, you've been convicted, you've been arrested for inciting, raging, and crowds. So for you not to have any acknowledgement of the fact that you should be at fault for this because of your past, I think is ridiculous. And for this not to even be brought up by the person who's interviewing him is also ridiculous, guys.
I'm that artist too. Anytime you can hear something like that, you want to stop the show. You want to make sure, fans get the proper attention they need,
Also ridiculous. He also refuses to say that raging has contributed to anything. And that makes no sense to me because raging is trying to get the crowds up. And the fact that he even mentioned how there should be people who would improve concert safety. Concert safety. The fact that you have the audacity to mention concert safety when it was you, Travis Scott, who was the one who was telling telling the fans to barge through security, to not listen to them, overhaul them, and the fact that you tweeted, we're not done yet, we're gonna let the wild ones in. and you're talking about concert safety. Who the hell are you, and what entitlement do you have to sit there and talk about concert safety when you have constantly promoted a lack thereof and told people to forget about concert safety, to bash the security who are meant to secure you and give you safety? And of course, the fact that, you know, you like, it's just so dumb for you to say stuff like that and then for nobody else to say anything. Like, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. He then obviously, you know, thinks that everyone is blaming him more, and I do feel like, you know, he is the main guy. His name is Travis Scott. We don't know the people behind Live Nation. Of course, his name is going to be in all the papers. That's common sense. But I do think that Travis Scott is accountable. Do I think he's the only one accountable? No. Live Nation, etc., are also accountable, but he is accountable based on his past and based on his history and based on the fact that he definitely could have done more. If you are the face, everybody is looking to you. These lost young boys and girls who go to go see you, they obviously look to you in some capacity, so you should have some control and responsibility. For you not to take any accountability or any responsibility, to me, is dangerous, because then it shows to me that as a fan, I can't go to your concerts, you know, if I was a fan, which I'm not, but if I was a fan and I'm going to your concerts, you don't value me as an individual, as a person. You just want my money, and that's honestly really it. He then talks about how he's preaching love. Travis, what the hell are you talking about? How are you preaching love when you're constantly praising the fact that people have passed away, in your concerts, when you were deleting those Instagram posts? You're not preaching love. Like, it's just so ridiculous to me how dumb someone can be. How are you preaching love when you're telling people to beat people up? When you're telling people to barge through security? When you're telling fans to jump off and get themselves paralyzed? How is that preaching love? Are you not preaching violence? Are you not preaching violence? You're asking people to rage and jump around, and then you're refusing to that has, contribute to anything. I just think that this interview was not needed. Nobody asked for this. Like, I don't get it. I woke up to this and a huge amount of notification to say this has happened, he's done an interview, and I'm thinking, why the hell has he done an interview for? Why couldn't you have waited until this case had died down? Because eventually it's going that way right now, where, you know, the association with you is dying down, and perhaps to, re-emerge in the new year. I just feel like this wasn't a right thing for him to do. He doesn't need to make an interview about it. I feel like his lawyers, I don't know why they allowed this. They must have told him not to do it or advised him not to, and of course he can do whatever he pleases. But at the same time, I think it's a very silly move on his behalf. I think Charlamagne interviewing him was also a mess up, because the last thing you need is somebody associated with mess and nonsense who kind of have any credible interviews and likes to make people cry and bully people and demeanor people and, really take the piss out of people in front of them, have no respect for the guests, and you're having associated that type of behavior as somebody who's interviewing you. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know why you would ask Charlamagne. Ask somebody else, if at best, if you're going to do this. Maybe even do an Oprah situation, for all I damn well care. But why the hell are you having Charlamagne? It doesn't make any sense to me. Let me know your thoughts are, guys, when it comes to this, analysis of mine. Let's just say it's not. I'm not doing a long-ass 20-minute video on this. I have done several videos on this matter. Number one, number two. I think we can all tell just from even looking at the interview or reading upon it that it was an absolute mess, and I don't need to really dissect and analyze every minute of that mess, because it's just an absolute mess. Okay, let me know your thoughts are. Subscribe to the channel, click that button. It's daily and consistent content, and I'll catch you guys soon for another video.